Look, it will come as zero surprise to you that I am not a doctor. I am not trained in medical science. I'm not a scientist. I don't have a graduate degree. I didn't go through years and years and years of specialized training to be able to diagnose people. When I talk about Donald Trump's mental health or physical health, it's just through a common sense lens of me looking at it and being like, that shit's not normal. Just like you, right? Unless I have a plethora of physicians in my audience that watch. What I'm getting ready to read is an account from a doctor in this Daily Beast article of someone who is now claiming that it's very likely that Donald Trump suffered a very serious medical issue last year, a stroke. And we've heard all kinds of stuff from different doctors who are diagnosing from afar, which is not necessarily the greatest thing. But when someone has an expertise in a particular area and they witness with their own eyes things that didn't used to be the case with Donald Trump, and this is the way it is now, and then those particular symptoms then start getting better and better or fading away, we should all perk up and listen, because we need a healthy president. We don't need somebody who is a droop mouth, shuffle-legged, dementia-riddled clown. We need somebody we can rely on, somebody who has the nuke code, somebody who can make cogent, complicated decisions about very, very complex issues on a global stage and domestically. We are owed that as an electorate. This is the most alarming. I'm going to get to it. I know you're like, all right, already. But this is the most alarming account from an expert that I have seen. And it should be sending alarms off in our heads that this cadre of fascist fucks in the White House are covering for someone who is not up to the job. Donald Trump should resign and, as much as it pains me, turn the reins over to the couch fucking J.D. Vance so he can assume the duties of President of the United States. Donald Trump ain't up for it. This is the headline. Doctor claims Trump, 79, suffered serious medical issue. Donald Trump suffered a stroke several months ago and has kept it from the public, a prominent medical expert has suggested. Professor Bruce Davidson of Washington State University's Ellison S. Floyd College of Medicine made the bombshell claim about the 79-year-old president's health while laying out, quote, lines of evidence supportive that have been reported on by the Daily Beast over the past year. Quote, I think his stroke was on the left side of his brain. And here's where it starts. Here we are. He's laying out exactly what he thinks. He's going to make the claim, and then he's going to back up the claim based on his voluminous knowledge of anatomy and symptoms and the different things that are entailed that are all above our pay grade relative to what we know or what we are an expert in. This is the thing. These are the people we need to rely upon for how we form our opinions. Quote, I think his stroke was on the left side of his brain, which controls the right side of his body, Davidson told biographer Sidney Blumenthal and Princeton historian Sean Wilentz on their podcast, The Court of History. I think the stroke was 6 months ago or more. Earlier in 2025, he continued. There are videos of him shuffling his feet, which is not what we'd seen previously when he was striding on the golf course. We've seen him holding his right hand cradled in his left. Earlier in 2025, he was garbling words which he hadn't done before and which he's improved upon more recently. So it's not just about identifying something that had happened, that, oh yeah, his speech was degraded to a certain degree, and then it got better. You don't get better at something when you're 80 fucking years old. What's the old dog's new tricks things? Especially someone who is intellectually incurious as Donald Trump. He's not looking to better himself. He's not looking to improve his station. He's given us evidence here. Davidson also pointed out what he describes as marked episodes of excessive daytime sleepiness. We've all seen that. Known medically as hypersomnolence. If I need to If I need to broadcast any more that I am not an expert in this area, it's me fumbling through the pronunciation of multi-syllabic medical terms. Hypersomnolence, which he said is common among stroke patients. Trump is now routinely appearing to nod off in public appearances, such as White House events. He did it yesterday. He's surrounded by 20, 30 people. There's probably close to 75 people inside the Oval Office, and he's just asleep like a baby. So, more evidence from an expert. He further suggested that footage showing Trump gingerly descending the hey, what's this ginger stuff? Come on, Daily Beast. He further suggested that footage showing Trump gingerly descending the steps of Air Force One while gripping the banister with his left hand, despite the president being right-handed, quote, is consistent with having had a stroke on the left side of the brain. That right there is kind of a juggernaut point that I've never even considered, and it's one that we all need to start taking account of. In response, and this is what's great, you would expect any normal White House to be like, no, the president is doing great. He's fantastic. Yeah, a little slow in the step, they would deal with it in a manner that's more reminiscent of how the Biden White House dealt with it. Anyway, this is how Donald Trump's fascist-enabling press secretary dealt with it. In response, White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt told the Daily Beast, quote, as the president's physician, Dr. Sean Barbarella, has made clear time and again, and as the American people see with their own eyes every single day, President Trump remains in excellent overall health. What was that? I couldn't hear you over Donald Trump snoring during public appearances. Speak up, Caroline. Speak up. I couldn't hear you over the glare from the makeup that he's applying on his hand and then putting a bandage over that and then applying more makeup over that. What are you saying? It's hard to make it out. Quote, President Trump's relentless work ethic, unmatched energy, and historic accessibility stand in sharp contrast to what we saw during the past 4 years when the failing legacy media intentionally covered up Joe Biden's serious mental and physical decline from the American people, she continued. And she will continue, but let me say this. This is the most interesting thing about all of this, about juxtaposing Joe Biden's situation and Donald Trump's, is that Joe Biden is still out there making speeches. He's still out there making public appearances. He's not like, oh, they had to hide him away in a closet as soon as he got out of the White House and he doesn't have the support staff to prop him up like Weekend at Bernie's. That's not happening. He's still out there. What is he, 84 years old? He's an old man, still making appearances. He's not gone. He's not just drifted off. It's just ridiculous. And again, as I said, she will continue here. Pushing these fake and desperate narratives now about President Trump is why Americans' trust in the media just fell to a new all-time low. In a second statement, that wasn't enough. She wanted to clarify a little bit. Apparently, Donald Trump was made aware of the first statement, and it wasn't quite aggressive enough, so she followed up with this. In a second statement from the White House, Leavitt said, quote, these allegations are absolute bullshit and perhaps even slanderous. What? Oh my God. Am I defaming Donald Trump by talking about the fact that he had a stroke? Am I slandering Donald Trump? Where does that line stop? I mean, if it's on a spectrum, if it's a continuum of what is slander, if I was to say that Donald Trump had tennis elbow, would that be slander, Caroline? If I said he stubbed his toe, which is a medical condition, would that also be slander? Is it slander to talk about the health of the President of the United States of America? Is it, you fascist enabling dipshit? It's bullshit and even slanderous, perhaps even slanderous. The individual making this false claim is a left-wing nutjob and Democrat activist. Anybody who says anything that Donald Trump doesn't like is a what was it? A left-wing nutjob and Democrat activist. We deserve a president in good health. And at the very least, if Donald Trump is is sick, we should know about it. It doesn't mean he has to step aside. It just means we're owed that information. When you're a public figure of this import, you no longer have the presumption of complete medical privacy. HIPAA just doesn't apply. Yeah, legally, of course. I'm not talking about legally, but don't you feel owed to know? Look, if Joe Biden had been the marionette of his staff, I would have been the first one out there saying, this ain't any good. Get Kamala in there to step in. We need leadership. I don't want the chief of staff being president of the United States. I didn't vote for the chief of staff. I didn't vote for anybody other than the people that were on the ticket. We have a constitution in place with rules and guardrails in place that have been put there by design over 250 years or 220 years, 225. What was it? 1789, September 17. Anyway. Now I'm getting into the weeds. What do you think? I think this is dangerous. I'd love your opinion.
Are you saying that the president finds the idea of canceling elections funny?
Andrew, were you in the room? No, you weren't. I was in the room. I heard the conversation. And only someone like you would take that so seriously and pose it as a question in that way.
And then second.
So Donald Trump wants to cancel the elections. He said it to Reuters in an interview. And Caroline Leavitt was asked about it yesterday, twice in two different occasions. And her answers do not leave me buoyed with confidence that they are not attempting this. Oh, it's a joke. He's just making a little tee-hee. He was being facetious. The man who wants to be a king, the man who posts pictures of himself with a crown, the man who thinks he is some kind of otherworldly power. He is the chosen one, he has said. Only I can fix it. Yeah, why would we think that he would want to cancel the elections? Why would we think that the convicted felon insurrectionist who attempted to overthrow the United States government in order to stay in power after having lost an election, why would we think that he would even consider canceling election? Now, let me say this. It's not as easy as just him waving a wand and then the election's canceled. That's not how it works. The Constitution, as I've talked about many, many times, gives the states the power and the authority to run their own elections. So he couldn't just go to California, their board of elections, and say, it's over. And then I guess the president said it. That's not how it works. He couldn't just go to New Jersey or Massachusetts or Georgia or Texas for that matter and say that. That's not how it works. So let's all take a deep breath before we get apoplectic about this, because it's not in reality, unless, of course, he deployed the military to these states to cancel the election. And if that's the case, we're going to be in a far more serious situation than we even currently are. And we're in a tight spot right now. But I want to read from you the quote from Reuters where he said this in an interview. And then we're going to play two clips from Caroline Leavitt that are just, these people, it is remarkable. Here's the headline: 5 takeaways from Reuters interview of President Trump. And it's under this heading of managing midterm expectations. The president expressed frustration that his Republican Party could lose control of the United States House of Representatives or the Senate in this year's midterm elections, citing historical trends that have seen the party in power lose seats in the second year of a presidency. Quote, this is Donald Trump. It's some deep psychological, speaking like a true intellectual, like a true expert. It's some deep psychological thing. But when you win the presidency, you don't win the midterms, Trump said. He boasted that he had accomplished so much that, quote, when you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election. Because that's how it works. When you accomplish a whole bunch, you just cancel elections. Yeah. So Caroline Leavitt, of course, press was doing their job in the press briefing room yesterday, asked about this particular thing. And the first clip that I'm getting ready to play here, it's her really trying to double down on the fact that this meeting, this interview that was not recorded on audio or video, you just need to trust Caroline Leavitt. You just need to trust us in the White House that he was joking. He was being facetious. We've got our stand-up comedian in chief, Donald Trump, just telling his jokes during interviews about the upcoming midterms.
My question is, President Trump has talked twice in recent days, once at the Kennedy Center and then to Reuters again last night about canceling the election. Why is he talking about this?
I believe you're referring to the president's interview at Reuters last night. I was in that interview. It was a closed-door interview. Obviously, there was not audio or video. The president was simply joking. He was saying, we're doing such a great job. We're doing everything the American people thought. Maybe we should just keep rolling. But he was speaking facetiously.
Joking facetiously. You know, like normal leaders in democracies do. Normal leaders who've also already signaled that they have the authority to terminate all rules and regulations and articles up to and including the Constitution of the United States. In fact, I'm going to talk about that a little later, right here. Donald Trump said this on December 3rd, 2022, that a massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. The same thing that I just said without even having the reference, because I've thought about it so much. Why would we think, oh, wait, you can't. He's just being a jokester. Was he joking here? Was he joking here, Caroline? You freakish ghoul. She was pressed on this. One of that particular journalist's colleagues asked a follow-up on it, and she dropped the jokey, facetious line and started getting indignant. The follow-up was met with indignancy, if you will. Watch this.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions. First, a follow-up on one of my colleagues who asked you about the president's interview with Reuters. You said that he was joking about canceling the elections, but Americans for generations have fought and died for democracy, for this democracy. Are you saying that the president finds the idea of canceling elections funny?
Andrew, were you in the room? No, you weren't. I was in the room. I heard the conversation. And only someone like you would take that so seriously and pose it as a question in that way.
Second,
Caroline,
next
Thank you, Caroline.
Only someone like you, Andrew, and the rest of the United States who cares about democracy would ask a question like that. Only someone like you would take something so seriously like our very democracy. Donald Trump already tried to end democracy in 2021. He tried to do it and failed. We know what's in his heart. He wants to be a dictator. He wants to be an autocrat. He wants to answer to no one but himself. He doesn't want to be constrained by the United States Constitution. It is absolutely also, let me say this. It's interesting that she doesn't push back about the joke thing anymore. He asked, does he think it's funny? And rather than say, yeah, he was just joking. Yeah, yes, Andrew, he was just making a joke. Were you in the room? No, you weren't. I was there. What's that have to do with whether or not he thinks it's funny? You said he was making a joke. Now you're not making it like it's such a funny joke anymore, Caroline. So if he made the joke, he obviously thinks there's something funny about it. Where's the joke, dumb fuck? Where's the joke? Your indignancy falls on deaf ears. Your attempts to fundamentally change this democratic republic into something other than that falls on deaf ears, and it is met with resistance. Fascists. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below this video. If you're on Facebook, like and follow the Dollemore Daily on Facebook. We are growing that pretty fast. Pretty proud of that. And if you're on YouTube or whatever, subscribe on YouTube. It is free to do so. I would appreciate it very much. And comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work for $2 a month. You can become a channel member on YouTube by clicking the join button, or even better, go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. That is a portal that supports all of the work we do here. The I Doubt It podcast, which we're doing weekly, we're back on schedule, and it's going on YouTube. Brittany Page's channel falls under that Patreon, and this channel as well.
If we are on a target and doing an operation, there may be individuals surrounding that criminal that we may be asking who they are and why they're there, and having them validate their identity.
We are living through a moment that none of us ever thought we would. Or at least I never thought we would. That you might catch yourself in the grocery store or going to get gas or going out to a movie and be stopped by agents of the state, armed, heavily armed agents of the state, masked secret police, demanding that you show them your papers to prove that you're not a Jew. I mean, that you're an American citizen. That's where we are in America. And if you think, oh, come on, Dollemore, that's not what they're saying. You're not fucking paying attention, because Kristi Noem said just that exact thing yesterday on the grounds of the White House. Let me give you a little lay of the land here real quick before I play this clip. I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to play a wild lie that she told about another shooting at the hands of those same ICE agents who are going to be requesting that you prove that you're an American citizen. And then next video, I'm going to talk about Homan talking about creating a database of citizens who don't agree with Donald Trump. Papers, please, and they're creating a list of people who don't agree with the Fuhrer. What in the fuck? Where are we? What country is this? What year is this? Watch Kristi Noem tell you to get your papers ready, people. You're going to have to show them to Donald Trump's personal masked secret police force.
Follow up, why are we seeing Americans being asked on the street to provide proof of citizenship in Minnesota? Is that targeted enforcement? And are you advising Americans to carry proof of citizenship?
In every situation, we're doing targeted enforcement. If we are on a target and doing an operation, there may be individuals surrounding that criminal that we may be asking who they are and why they're there and having them validate their identity. That's what we've always done, in asking people who they are so that we know who's in those surroundings. And if they are breaking our federal laws, we will detain them as well until we run that processing.
We're here now. Fascism isn't some distant possibility. It is a reality. I was on the ground in Minneapolis. I have gone to countless protests in the city of Washington, D.C. And let me tell you, this isn't something that is a theory. We are here. They are now detaining, arresting, abusing citizens, requiring them to show their papers. As just a point of execute, I carry my passport with me now. I won't provide it to them because I don't need to provide any evidence that I'm a citizen. I have the presumption of innocence under the Constitution of the United States. And for me to be required to show documentation to prove that I am what I am, that I am who I am, that I'm a citizen, that I'm born here, is against the Constitution. Because I am presumed innocent. But then I'm not a cherry-picking fuck who only chooses to abide by and remember my oath to the Constitution for the things that I like. Here is Kristi Noem, and I'm going to play this clip, and this is her explaining away the shooting of another person in Minneapolis yesterday. And I want you to pay attention to remembering how she dealt with the killing, the brutal murder of Renee Good. That within 30 minutes, she already knew everything, just making wild claims about how Renee Good was a domestic terrorist, saying that she ran over the ICE agent, Jonathan Ross, just lying, telling you things that didn't even mildly comport with the video that you've seen maybe dozens of times. She's a liar. So I'm going to play this, and this is from her Twitter account, this video. So this is what she wants you to believe. This isn't deceptively edited. This is nothing. This is what she wants you to believe the narrative is. But when you watch it, there'll be a reminder on screen. But I want you to remember what the lies that she told about Renee Good while you're watching this particular excuse about the murderous rage that is being visited upon the citizens of Minneapolis.
What more can you add from this incident last night?
Well, our agents were out doing what they're doing every single day across this country, as they were doing targeted enforcement, going after individuals that are breaking federal law. When this individual drove away, crashed his car, tried to run into a home, and as they were wrestling on the ground trying to detain this individual, two other men came out of that building and started attacking him with weapons and shovels and brooms. And as it was 3-on-1, the agent feared for his life and defensively had to take action. But, you know, this kind of violence is perpetuated by what we hear the governor saying, what we hear the mayor in Minneapolis saying, and their irresponsibility is extremely reckless. Governor Tim Walz has my phone number. I have called him and talked to him and said, listen, you let your city burn down in 2020. Don't do it again. President Trump wants to keep everybody safe. We're enforcing federal law. We're protecting every single American. Work with us. I want to remind you that Minneapolis itself, under the mayor's leadership and the governor's leadership, released almost 500 criminals out onto the streets rather than bring them to justice and turn them over to federal authorities. So they know they're releasing murderers and rapists and drug traffickers on the streets of Minneapolis. We're out there making sure they don't harm American citizens, and we're getting attacked while we do it. But we're going to continue to do our work and do what's right, because it's what President Trump promised the American people.
Look, the only people that are putting the citizens of Minneapolis in harm's way are the ones with the guns who are killing people. ICE, the masked secret police force. They know that what they're doing is so unpopular, they have to cover their faces. Jonathan Ross, it's been reported, told his neighbors, who had no idea that he was a fucking fascist piece of shit, because he told them, I'm a botanist. He was so ashamed, or he knew the thing he did would be met with such shame that he lied about what he did for a living. And now he's in hiding. Why? I don't know. If he's doing his job and following the law, what's he have to be afraid of? This is it. Get ready to have your papers on display for the masked secret police of Donald Trump. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below the video on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching that video. Subscribe, like, follow, do all the things. Those are free, and they really do help increase the reach. We're just slaves to the algorithm here. So if you like and follow, if you comment on a video, if you share a video, if you watch more than you think you have to get, all of that helps a lot.
We're going to create a database where those people that are arrested for interference, impediment, assault, we're going to make them famous. We're going to put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods, in their schools, know who these people are.
So we've already covered that the Secretary of Homeland Security, Donald Trump's lackey, is going to require citizens to present their papers to the Nazis. The masked secret police force of Donald Trump that is now filled to the brim with white nationalists and Proud Boys. That's the force. The white ethno-state creation force. They're going to be requiring citizens to prove, without no crime is being alleged, they have no probable cause, they're just going to walk up to you and say, show me your papers. That was me attempting to do a German accent, and then I realized I couldn't do one, and then just bailed out of it in the real time. And now we have Tom Homan. So not only are they going to be requiring papers of citizens, but Tom Homan is now alleging, claiming, threatening that they're creating a database of citizens who disagree with Donald Trump. A list of people who exercise their First Amendment rights protected by the Constitution of the United States. And they're going to put you on a list and try to get you fired. They're going to go to your employer. They're going to try to ruin your life. This is the government punishing you for your speech. This is fundamentally a violation of the Constitution. We're going to start with this, though. I want to just give you a framework for what's taking place in right-wing media and with these dipshits like the mushmouth dildo with ears, Tom Homan. I mean, if I had more time, we would caption what he says, but it's hard for me to even understand him. Between I mean, I would hate to be in the little rooms where they do the Fox News hits because he's not in studio. It probably just if you've drank a bunch of whiskey overnight and the next day how you stink like whiskey, that's Tom Homan. That's his perfume. It's a nightmare. And he's talking to Laura Ingraham, and they're making insane, baseless claims as though they are fact. And it's just a right-wing circle jerk with these two. They're making assertions, and then the other one agrees with it like it's fact, but they provide no evidence. Laura Ingraham, you have a television show with a staff of production people. You could have somebody provide one, like I do here on my show, and it's just me. I'm the one providing the evidence and finding the screenshots and reading articles and doing the due diligence to prove the things that I say are true. She does nothing of the sort. All she is Tim Walz and Jacob Fry, they're ratcheting up the violence. It's so obvious. And then they don't show a clip of them ratcheting up the violence. What's the other one? Oh, that it's not an organic movement. This is clearly paid protesters. That no one would really care about the well-being of other people in their communities to go out and protest. This is clearly propped up and paid for. And then the mushmouth dildo with ears. You're right, Laura. Oh, you're right. I've been there. You're right. No evidence. No, not even a screenshot of it. It's just conspiracy. Anyway, watch this, and then we'll get to the list making from this administration.
Here to respond exclusively, border czar Tom Homan. Tom, it's great to see you tonight. The Minnesota politicians will say often, as Fry does, and we're going to get into him a little bit later on, but Fry and Waltz, they'll say, well, we want calm. We want the temperature to come down. And then they egg on the violence. They continue to do this night after night. And as you saw, Tom, it's getting worse night after night.
It is. And just before I got in front of the camera, my security team advised me that the person that stole that farm last night is now wearing a set of handcuffs in custody. So I was just advised of that before I got on the camera. So, and there's others, others are coming. So they're going to be held accountable. But you're right. Look, Mayor Fry and the governor could end this right now. They could say, ICE, we want to work with you. ICE, we're going to let you into our jails, and we're going to, respect your detainers. Any illegal alien that we book into a jail, when we're done with them, we're going to call you. So you can arrest them in the safety and security of a jail rather than us releasing them to the street. Then you got to send a whole team to look for them. They could fix this situation right now, because as of right now, what are these anarchists, what do they have achieved so far? What have they achieved? Has ICE decreased their operations? No, we doubled down. We're arresting people every day, and we'll keep doing it. They haven't achieved anything other than violence.
Well, Tom, I also think what's clear here is that the money trail has to be dried up. That has to be exposed. I know there's some reporting around the edges about some foundations, perhaps connected to billionaires we've been talking about, are giving some type of support for some of these groups that may filter into these protests. But the idea that this is some organic uprising is ludicrous. I was there. It was obvious. It was not organic.
Well, you're exactly right.
So they say they want to bring the temperature down, and then they egg on the violence. Cut to clip. Nope, didn't cut to a clip because there isn't one. It's just her saying it. They continue to do this night after night. Do what? How many ICE agents have been harmed in the course of their duties? They throw around these statistics. ICE threats are up 1 zillion quadrillion %. ICE injuries are up 13 bazillion. Like, where is this coming? These are just numbers you're saying. You're taking a page out of Donald Trump's playbook about we're bringing pharmaceutical costs down by 13,000%. This is not, you tell us where you're getting this. I haven't seen one single video of an ICE agent being harmed unless he's slipping on the ice and fucked himself up. I haven't seen one ICE agent be harmed, but I have seen citizens be murdered. I have been pepper sprayed myself or pepper balled, and then there's a plume of pepper gas in the air. I've seen that. I've seen citizens shoved to the ground. I've seen citizens choked. 32 or so people in ICE custody have died this last year alone. I've seen that, but I can't seem to remember any footage of an ICE agent being attacked physically by anyone. Liars. And then, well, Tom, I also think it's clear here, she says, that the money trail has to be dried up, that this has to be exposed. I know there's some reporting around the edges about some foundations, perhaps, connected to billionaires. We've been talking about giving some type of support to these groups, blah, 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 blah. But the idea that this is some organic uprising is ludicrous, she says. I was there, the mushmouth dildo with ears says. It was obvious it was not organic. Or she said that. And then, well, you're exactly right, he says. I was there too, Laura. What evidence do you have that this is not an organic movement? And how little do you think of the citizens of the United States who have an understanding of what their rights are and what is decent and correct, that they would not get out and take part in an uprising against the government, to take part in a protest against the murder of citizens in the streets of Minneapolis. Just because you are absolutely bereft of empathy or loyalty to the Constitution or the principles enshrined therein doesn't mean the rest of us are. You fucking ghoul. They think so little of the Constitution. They regard it so poorly that here he is just announcing to the world on the heels of Kristi Noem saying that it's a papers, please society now, that citizens will be required to demonstrate their citizenship by breaking out their papers. Tom Homan on the heels of that is announcing that, yeah, we're creating lists of people who disagree with Donald Trump.
Well, the Philly sheriff, she's proven she's not too smart. I mean, you're not going to arrest anybody. Like you said earlier in your monologue, there's a supremacy clause. If you interfere or impede ICE officers, I don't care if you're wearing a badge or not. You just committed a felony. So we're going to continue doing this job, and these people who want to say follow ICE, and film ICE, you know what? You can protest. They have that right. But when you cross that line, and we've proven it, if you interfere or impede or assault an ICE officer, you will be prosecuted. And one thing I'm pushing for right now, Laura, we're going to create a database where those people that are arrested for interference, impediment, assault, we're going to make them famous. We're going to put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods, in their schools, know who these people are. Because as you said, a lot of these people, they say they're taking time off work to protest. I bet you a lot of them are calling in sick. I bet you a lot of their employers don't know what they're doing. But we're going to make sure everybody knows who they are. We're going to broadcast. They want to broadcast the ICE officer that was nearly killed all over the internet. We're going to broadcast every one of these people we arrest.
Look, let's parse the language here. When he says we're going to create a database, those people that are it's who? Those people who? Tom Homan, I mean, seriously. Did you pass 6th grade, Tom Homan? Did you pass 4th grade, sir? I have a hard time believing that you, the bribe-accepting mushmouth, did. It's remarkable to me. But let's get into this here. When he's talking about those people who are interfering, he's talking about protesters, people who are simply protesting. That when I get in the face of an ICE agent, and I tell him that you were following the orders of a child rapist, and I read to him or recite to him the First Amendment of the Constitution, that to him means I need to be put on a list. Exercising your constitutional right, your natural right to oppose policy is going to get you on a list, a database, so that they can put you on TV. Put me on TV, dumb fuck. Please put me on fucking TV, you clown. And they're going to get you fired, which is textbook the government punishing you for your speech, which is textbook violative of the Constitution, of the First Amendment. From a man who raised his right hand and swore an oath to that same document. I guess he had his fingers crossed behind his back, maybe. Maybe he was in his mind, he's like, no, I'm talking about Donald Trump right now. I'm talking about Donald Trump right now. Oh, the grundle butter. Oh, wipe the underside of his nutsack right on my upper lip. Please, I'm Tom Homan. Maybe that's what he meant. Too much? All right, I'm going to go. Fuck ICE. I hope everybody will say it with me. 1, 2, 3. I didn't hear it. I'm in a studio. I love and appreciate you very much. I want to hear from you. Comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com.
So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist.
To be the White House press secretary, what a rough job. I mean, in any administration, it's got to be tough, but doing it for this dipshit where you are just, it's a requirement to not, spin the situation in the best light for the administration based on how their policy affects them. It's not that. It's just, you're expected to go out there and just lie, justify the murder of American citizens at the hands of Donald Trump's personal mass secret police force. You have to be a soulless ghoul. And in it, it's frustrating, even for someone as bereft of morality or decency as Caroline Leavitt. And she's had many, many freakouts over the years. None maybe as big as yesterday's, when she is just hurling insults at a reporter, freaking out that he would question the circumstances and the justification for the murder that we all witnessed of Renee Good in Minneapolis, who's not, by the way, the only person that ICE has murdered. I'm going to play, let's just get straight to this clip where this reporter is asking about, look, Secretary Noem says that ICE agents are doing everything right. Yet, more than 24 people died in ICE custody last year, a record number. So if they're doing everything right, I don't think he got this granular with the question, but if they're doing everything right, then why are all these people dying? Why are citizens now being required to give their paperwork? He certainly didn't go that far. Why is Tom Homan suggesting that he's going to create a database, a list of people who oppose Donald Trump's policies relative to immigration, or who knows, whatever else? Watch the question, listen for what the answer is, she doesn't give one, and then witness the epic meltdown.
Thanks, Caroline. Earlier, you were just defending ICE agents generally, and earlier on, Secretary Noem spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my
Yeah.
opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist. And it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist. Kelly.
And she moves on. Notice what she did there. Let's get on the ground with what just took place. He's asking about if they're doing everything right, why did 32 people die in ICE custody last year? Why 170 citizens have been detained by immigration enforcement officers? Why that? Why was Renee Good killed? He just happened to mention that one. She doesn't address the 32 people dead in ICE custody, 170 Americans detained by immigration officials. She doesn't talk about that. She drills down on the Renee Good question. We all watched it. And then she just sputters in, just crashes out, talking about all the Americans who are killed by violent illegal aliens. Well, if that's all they were going after, I think the American public would have a different idea about what's taking place. Instead, they're chasing DoorDash drivers into homes. They're kidnapping children off the street. This isn't going after criminals and the worst of the worst. It is, by any metric, that is not what it is. There may be, possibly, some criminals being wrapped up when you go door to door to door to door, requesting that citizens provide their paperwork, compiling a list of people who disagree with Donald Trump, arresting everyone in sight. Yeah, maybe a criminal or two are going to be wrapped up in that. But the administration cannot be trusted, and this is just more evidence of it. Her reaction, you're a left-wing hack. You're not a real journalist. As she filibusters, she acts like she wants to have a dialogue and a conversation with him. That's not what she wants. She wants to shame him, shut him up with the bully pulpit in the press briefing room with the microphone. That, my friends, is a freak out. That is, it's one of those situations where the thing they don't say speaks far more heavily than what they do say. The things that she avoided, the topics she didn't want to address, the answers she didn't want to give, that is where we should be focusing. No, I mean, obviously we should be focusing on the murder of Renee Good. Also, by the way, she says, why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed? And I'll go back to the point I've been making since her death on the 8th, that they want to call her a domestic terrorist and also say that she was unfortunately and tragically killed. If indeed she was a domestic terrorist, she was not. She was a patriot who was standing for her community. Even if she was a domestic terrorist, who would think that it's unfortunate and tragic that she was killed? When Osama bin Laden was killed, a terrorist, who shed a tear other than maybe his wives and kids? Terrorists, nobody mourns for terrorists, especially this administration. You don't get it both ways, Caroline. I mean, I guess you do. Your lips used to be like a normal woman's lips, and now they're just like you're having an anaphylactic reaction to peanuts or something. Peanuts, not penis. Anyway, these ghouls will stop at nothing to their ultimate goal, which is creating a white ethno-state. It's something I've been saying for a long time. This is the Republican Party is the largest, most effective white supremacy organization on the planet. A lot of people poo-pooed it. I've lost all kinds of subscribers. People just stopped watching. He's just an alarmist. That's crazy talk. Yeah, where the fuck are we now? Who was right? I think that you are of like mind with me. You agree, otherwise you'd probably have drifted off too. That those of us who were sounding the alarm, we were not alarmists. We were correct. And the thing we've been saying is gonna happen is now happening. Creating lists of American citizens that disagree with Donald Trump. Papers, please. Show me your papers. Prove to me that you're a citizen. Wait, you don't want to stop? Oh, you are detained. This is Nazi shit from the Nazi Party in the United States. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below the video. As always, you can call voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. If you have an extra couple bucks around, not if you have to save for it or budget for it, if you're on a fixed income, if you're on disability, if you have any constraints whatsoever, just like and subscribe to this channel and share this content and engage with it. But if you do have a couple bucks and you want to help support this work, help me produce these videos, you could do so on YouTube as I stammer and stutter like I've never said it before. On YouTube, you can click the join button, become a channel member for $2 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/I-doubt-it-podcast. Again, Patreon is the preferred method because they take 5% and YouTube takes like 30 or 35. Anyway, I'll let you make your decision about how you spend your money.
If you look at some of the images out of Minneapolis last night, look at this vehicle. Look at what it says. It says F ICE. You have these individuals who are putting their middle finger, proudly so, at the camera.
So the other just batshit crazy thing that happened in the press briefing room yesterday was Caroline Leavitt, chastising Minnesota political leaders for not sitting down and having coffee with the masked secret police force of Donald Trump. Get to know them. They're just family guy. They're just women and men who love the country. They're patriots. They're just doing their job. They're just following the orders of Donald Trump. The American Führer, Donald Trump, leading his Nazi troops to harass, detain, and brutalize inhabitants of the country. And then she goes into this propaganda thing where she wants you to look at these photos of ostensibly, it's a government vehicle that's been, it was abandoned by ICE, and then protesters sprayed spray paint on it. It's the automobile utilized by murderers to murder and kidnap citizens and community members, yet they want us to cry buckets of tears because there's spray paint on a government car. No thanks. You will not be getting my sympathy or tears, Caroline Leavitt. But then she goes into this thing about how, look, they're flipping off agents. Oh my God, there must be retribution. There must be consequences for them flipping off ICE agents. I was flipping off ICE agents last weekend. Let me tell you, there's something cathartic about it. Watch this clip. There's 2 segments I want to talk about. It is a doozy.
You know, they've referred to ICE agents who, again, are brave men and women, and I would encourage everyone in this room, and I would encourage Governor Walz and other Democrats who are demeaning law enforcement to sit down and have a cup of coffee with an ICE agent or a Border Patrol agent. These are great, patriotic men and women who have families, who put on the uniform every day and are following our nation's immigration laws at the direction of their bosses and again, at the direction of the law. They are simply trying to enforce the law. And the Democrat Party has demeaned these individuals. They've even referred to them as Nazis and as the Gestapo. And that is absolutely leading to the violence we're seeing in the streets. If you look at some of the images out of Minneapolis last night, look at this vehicle. Look at what it says. It says F ICE. You have these individuals who are putting their middle finger, proudly so, at the camera. Another ICE individual, a vehicle that was vandalized last night by these left-wing agitators. People don't do this without encouragement from people in power who make them feel like it's okay. Here's another one. And I'm pretty sure this car, you can't see it, said the best agent is a dead agent or something to that effect.
Oh my goodness. I do declare, did they put up their middle fingers proudly so, Caroline Leavitt? They must be prosecuted for this grievance. These fucking people, she has the temerity and the short-sightedness to talk about people flipping people off as though that's an aggression, while Donald Trump is on tape mouthing the words fuck you to someone who called him a pedophile protector, the thing that he is. I mean, I don't believe TJ Sabula, who's the man who did it, went far enough. He should have called him a pedophile. If I get within earshot, I'm screaming child rapist at him, to be sure. But, oh, they flipped him off? Oh, no, what will we do? What will we do, Caroline Leavitt? They say F ICE. Yeah, fuck ICE. Fuck the Gestapo. Fuck the Nazis with their masks on, with their tactical gear, looking like Donald Trump's secret police. Fuck them. Sit down with coffee? No, thank you. Why should Governor Walz sit down with the murder force, with the tactical urban assault squad, the assassination squad of Donald Trump? Why would he do that? Why should every member of the press in the room there do it, is what she said. Everyone in this room should sit down and have a cup of coffee. They're just following orders, said the Nazis from the previous century when they were brought to tribunals and ultimately hanged for their crimes against humanity. We were just following orders. I didn't know what was going on. I was just following the orders of the Führer. It's getting better, the accent. I think I'm doing better with it. They are Nazis. They are Gestapo. They are mass secret police of Donald Trump. And they do all just say, look, we're just following orders. I got a job to do, just like the Nazis did in the previous century. Just exactly like it. And we're in the beginning stages of where we were in like the mid 1930s, early stages. This isn't like 1945 Germany right now, but it's getting more and more aggressive. It's a papers, please society now, as indicated by Kristi Noem. Tom Homan, mushmouth dildo with ears, talking about making a list, making a database of people who disagree with the administration, with the Führer. And they want us to sit down with these fucking cowards. Thanks, but no thanks. And if you want me to cry buckets of tears over a spray-painted United States government vehicle, get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? We don't have enough money to help hungry families feed their children. We don't have enough money to fully fund healthcare or Medicaid in this country, to give a hand up to the downtrodden and the oppressed and the marginalized. But we got all kinds of money for vehicle after vehicle after vehicle in a kidnap force. And oh no, what will we do? They spray painted a car. Ugh. I have a message for you, Caroline Leavitt. Fuck you too. Oh, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Am I too crass? Give me some feedback here. Give me some earnest feedback. Is it too much? Not enough? I want our honesty. Comment below with that opinion. Obviously, I'm trying to gin up engagement. I don't do any deceptive things, but I would like to know. So maybe you could just call, but let me know. Comment below, call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Follow me on the social media, something I don't say as much anymore. I am not active on the Nazi Twitter at all. My account is still there, but I don't follow anybody. I don't tweet anything. I deleted all my tweets, all my likes, everything. All of it's gone. The account's still there because I don't want someone to steal my username and then act like me. But I'm on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram and TikTok. I'm everywhere else at Dollemore. And excuse me. Maybe I shouldn't be saying it. My body's telling me. I'd love to see you there. Anyway.
We don't have a fundamental disagreement on that. We actually have a fundamental disagreement about whether or not laws should be, and constitutional rights should be followed by everybody.
Yeah, but Minneapolis isn't following that.
By immigrants and also by the law enforcement.
You know, I don't know how long it's going to take me to have my brain fully accept the fact that the party that decades ago I belonged to has just abandoned all respect for, all adherence to their oath, but also just generally to the Constitution. The same people like your Ted fucking Cruzes and all these dipshits who act like they're libertarian types who really want to follow the Constitution, and they're all about small government and originalism and all this. It's all just a ruse. They're liars. They treat the Constitution like they treat their Bibles. They cherry pick the things they like. Oh, this one says we should kill all of the inhabitants of a city, everything, women, children, all the goats, everything, kill them all. But this one says we should take care of the poor. That one I don't like. That's woke shit. We're gonna do all the war stuff. They treat the Constitution the same way. And Scott Jennings really is, among the grifter types in MAGA, he is one of the most shameless because he used to be an ardent opponent of Donald Trump, really speaking sense and having reasonable takes about the danger that Donald Trump posed. And he has fully bent the knee. He is just a coward with this smug act that he puts on CNN. I've seen this guy in public, and he is a meek little bitch. He is just a weak sauce little coward in public, but acts like just with his little faces and shit on CNN. When you live in the same town as these clowns, you see them around. It's really something to behold, the act that they put on while they feel safe on TV, thinking, no one's going to reach across the table and choke the fuck out of me, right? But they like to cherry pick. And it's amazing that they have pledged their loyalty, their fealty to their cult leader, the Führer, Donald Trump. A man, you can't have it both ways. You don't get to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Donald Trump is that threat. And also love and adore Donald Trump and back everything he says. Because after all, I know I broke this out earlier. On December 3rd, 2022, Donald Trump tweeted that a massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Donald Trump has signaled that he has the authority to terminate the Constitution. So it should come as no surprise that people like Scott Jennings are cherry picking the Constitution. They don't care about it. If they did care about it, they would have abandoned Trump years ago. It's a post from 2022. So when he's in this little back and forth with Abby Phillip on the Abby Phillips show, explaining that he doesn't care, that it's you who has a problem. It's not him who has a problem with the Constitution. He just wants to see all the illegal aliens arrested. But then very, very just glazes over the fact that arrest happens through the process, the due process. How does the government prove? After all, the burden of proof is on the government. The burden of proof does not fall on the individual, the defendant. We have the presumption of innocence. It is up to the government to prove that they are that they say what they say. Habeas corpus. Present to me the body, bring me the body, show the proof, right? Watch this interaction between, I haven't really made the case of exactly what's going to go on here, but it is a remarkable thing. It is Scott Jennings attempting to communicate through goofy faces and his unearned arrogance and smugness, like that makes the point, while disrespecting and disregarding the Constitution of the United States. He's ultimately making an argument here to throw away the Constitution.
And creating upheaval in a community. And in some cases, in this case, there's an argument to be made that they didn't even have a warrant to break down the door.
They know an illegal alien lives there, though, yes?
It is performative.
Okay, and?
It's like, come on.
Abby, you and I just have a fundamental disagreement. I think illegal immigration law should be enforced, and you don't.
We don't have a fundamental disagreement on that. We actually have a fundamental disagreement about whether or not laws should be, and constitutional rights should be followed by everybody.
Yeah, but Minneapolis isn't following that.
By immigrants and also by the law enforcement.
What about
immigrants
should they follow
okay, let's just end with a quick question.
It's not a citizen. This is an illegal alien.
There's a cruelty issue. There's a cruelty issue.
Just a 17-year-old boy, American citizen, they got picked up 4 hours, beat up, and thrown out.
Just a quick question.
Issue here.
American citizen.
Do you think
17-year-old.
that they ought to have? Do you think that they ought to have a warrant to break down a door?
Wait, Scott, how many before going Scott, is Donald Trump a convicted felon?
Hold on a second, Lev, just a second. Do you think that they ought to have a warrant before breaking down a door to arrest someone?
I don't know what that guy's situation is. I know he's an illegal alien, and that's all I know about that case.
So you don't
know. Do I think they need a warrant to arrest an illegal alien?
Well, let me just let you know, Scott, they do need a warrant.
To arrest an illegal alien?
In order to break down a door and enter someone's home, okay? So,
But an illegal alien is in there and they know it.
Hold on.
Don't they have suspicion then that
hold on a
it's
second.
the 4th and the 14th.
Hold on a second. That same man was in an ICE office
I
a
know,
week prior.
and I know you want to find a way for him to live here happily ever after, but he's an illegal
why
alien.
didn't they just arrest him in the ICE office?
This is
I don't know.
this is a
I'm not running
performance.
their office. I don't run their operation.
All right.
This is
That's it. Scott Jennings, dumb fuck extraordinaire. Do away with the Constitution. That is a remarkable back and forth. Abby says they didn't even have a warrant to break down the door. Well, they know illegal aliens live there. How do they know? Prove to us you know. That's what's called due process. If they suspect that the authorities suspect I'm doing something illegal in this room that I'm in right now, they need to go get a warrant to prove it to a judge, and then they have permission to come to my house and enter my house without my permission. That's due process. That's the Constitution. Those are fundamental principles enshrined in the document that protects those natural rights. And he knows it. It's not like he's such a dumb fuck. He doesn't understand he understands thoroughly. But he needs to convince the MAGA horde who might be watching him on that show that it's okay to cherry pick the Constitution. It's okay if we use the law and authorities to abuse the others in our society, the oppressed, the marginalized, the traditionally abused. It's okay. I mean, you get due process. You require a warrant if they want to come and molest you in your home, colloquially speaking, but not them. They're just brown people. They don't deserve constitutional rights. Do you think they needed a warrant to break down the door? I know he's an illegal alien. That's not an answer to the question. Do they need a warrant? Well, I know he's an illegal alien. Do they need a warrant to arrest an illegal alien? Yes. The answer, unequivocally, flatly, plainly, powerfully, is yes. You need a warrant. You need a warrant. You need a fucking warrant. You need an indictment, which is a grand jury proceeding. If you're going to prosecute a felony for a misdemeanor, you need a warrant to enter someone's home. We have the Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable, unlawful search and seizure. We have a right to be secure in our homes with our papers and belongings, unmolested by the federal government. These are principles that have been croned about by these don't tread on me dipshits for decades. They made their entire personality about resisting tyranny. You just wait and you try to come and take it. I'm going to have my fucking guns and we're going to have a civil war. Until it was brown people in the crosshairs. Now, all of these Gadsden flag Trump ass licks, they're nowhere to be found because that wasn't what it was about. They're willing to trade away, to surrender their constitutional rights as long as black and brown people take the brunt of the hit. It's the same with poor white trash all over the country. They don't mind suffering in poverty as long as them blacks also suffer. As long as they don't get welfare benefits, as long as the government doesn't help them, I'm willing to also languish in poverty and misery. And the Republican Party has banked on this for generation after generation after generation. The Southern strategy, Lee Atwater, I've done videos on it. Ghouls, every single one. This is about creating a white ethno-state. And Scott Jennings, who used to work for Mitch McConnell, the guy who loves standing in front of Confederate flag, he's just another white supremacist. Weak in public, where there's a chance somebody will walk up to him and choke his fucking neck, but bold when he's in a studio across the table from people on CNN. Just be you, Scott. Why do you got to be two versions? Only one version of this guy, and this is it. Also, fuck you, Scott. I might have to get this framed and have this be a new prop for the show. hypocrites. I hate them. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below this video right here. Make a comment. It'll help the algorithm. It'll help share this content with new audience members with which you can discuss things in the comments. It's a vicious cycle, see? You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I sure do love you. I sure do appreciate you. Thank you for engagement. Thanks for caring about the country. It means a lot. I read your comments, and man, it has very much helped. I have been stressed, whatever. It's been a lot of teeth grinding at night, and I appreciate you very much. You've definitely lifted my spirits and boosted my mood, and in times like this, sometimes that's all we can ask for. Be genuine. Take care of one another.